They say your past always catches up with you. Mine showed up in a hospital gown, holding a clipboard with my death sentence written on it. I'm Lee Juno, CEO, workaholic, certified asshole according to my assistant. I built an empire from nothing, turned my family's small tech company into a billion-dollar corporation. I had everything figured out. Until I collapsed during a board meeting. Until Dr. Chin told me I had weeks to live without a bone marrow transplant. Until they found exactly one match in the entire national registry. Amomar say. The name hit me like a freight train. The woman I married 5 years ago. The woman I divorced 3 years ago because I was too weak to stand up to my family. The woman who vanished without a trace, leaving nothing but an empty apartment and a forwarding address that led nowhere. Now she was my only chance at survival. And when she walked into that hospital room, she wasn't alone. She had 2 toddlers with her, a boy and a girl, both with my eyes, my smile, my everything. I'd been dying for weeks. Turned out, I'd been dead for 3 years. I just didn't know it yet. The fluorescent lights in Seoul General Hospital's executive wing were giving me a headache. Or maybe that was just my body systematically shutting down. Hard to tell these days. Mr. Lee, you need to stay calm. Dr. Chun adjusted his glasses, the same way he'd been doing for the past 20 minutes while explaining how my bone marrow had essentially decided to retire early. We found a match. I stared at him. 36 hours ago, I was screaming at my CFO about quarterly projections. Now I was supposed to celebrate that some stranger might save my life? Great. When can we schedule it? Dr. Chun exchanged a look with my brother, Minseo, who'd been standing by the window like a statue since they brought me to this private room. Juno, Minseo said quietly. Too quietly. My brother was never quiet. It's Amomar. The name landed in my chest like a physical blow. What? Your ex-wife is your only compatible donor. Dr. Chun pulled up something on his tablet. The registry flagged her immediately. She's agreed to come in. My throat went dry. When did you contact her? Yesterday. She's driving up from Busan. Should be here within the hour. I couldn't breathe. 3 years. 3 years since I'd signed those divorce papers in my father's office while he smiled like he'd just won the lottery. 3 years since I'd chosen my family's approval over the woman I loved. 3 years since Amomar had looked at me with those beautiful dark eyes and said, I hope it was worth it, Juno. I really do. It hadn't been. Does she know? I asked. About everything? She knows you need a transplant. Dr. Chun closed his tablet. She knows it's life or death. Beyond that, I couldn't say. Minseo moved from the window. I can leave if you want privacy when she arrives. Stay. The word came out rougher than I intended. Please. Because if Amomar say was going to watch me beg for my life, I needed a witness to remind me it actually happened. The hour crawled by like a wounded animal. I pretended to read reports on my laptop. Checked my phone 40 times. Try not to think about the last time I'd seen her. The divorce had been quick. Clinical. My father's lawyers made sure of that. Amomar hadn't fought. Not for money. Not for assets. Nothing. She just signed her name, picked up her purse, and walked out of my life. I told myself it was for the best. That my family was right. That a marriage between a Korean chaebol heir and a Ghanaian British artist was never going to work. That the cultural differences were too vast. That she'd be happier without the pressure. All lies I let myself believe because believing them was easier than admitting I was a coward. Mr. Lee, a nurse poked her head in. Your visitor is here. My heart stopped. Then Amomar walked in, and time stopped with it. She'd cut her hair. That was the first thing I noticed. The long braids she used to spend hours styling were gone, replaced by a short, natural cut that somehow made her even more striking. She wore jeans and a simple blue sweater, no makeup, dark circles under her eyes like she'd driven through the night. She was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. Juno. Her voice was exactly the same. Soft, melodic, with that slight British accent that used to make me weak. You look terrible. I'm dying, I said stupidly. It's not a great look. Her lips twitched. Almost a smile. Not quite. Then she stepped aside, and my world tilted completely off its axis. 2 children stood behind her. A boy and a girl, maybe 2.5 years old, holding onto her legs like little anchors. The girl had my mother's eyes, sharp, observant, missing nothing. The boy had my smile, the lopsided one I only used when I was genuinely happy. They both had Amar's beautiful dark skin and her perfect nose. "This is Nari," Amar said softly, touching the girl's head. "And this is Tay. Say hello to the nice man, babies." "Nice man. Not your father. Not daddy. Nice man." "Hi," Nari whispered. Tay just stared at me with those familiar eyes, then buried his face in Amar's jeans. I couldn't speak, couldn't breathe, couldn't do anything but stare at the mathematical impossibility standing in front of me. Mincio made a choked sound behind me. "Amar," I finally managed. "Are they yours?" "Yes." She said it matter-of-factly, like she was confirming a dinner reservation. "I was 8 weeks pregnant when we signed the papers. You never asked, so I never told you." The room spun. "Why didn't you?" "Tell you? Why would I?" Her voice stayed calm, but her eyes flashed with something dark. "So you could what, Juno? Bring them into your family? Let your father treat them the way he treated me? Let your mother explain to her country club friends how her son had mixed children?" Each word was a knife. Each one deserved. "I would have. You would have done exactly what you always did. Chosen them over us." She shifted Nari to her other hip. "I saved us all the trouble. If you're already hooked, hit that subscribe button. This story is about to get wild. Trust me." Dr. Chin cleared his throat. "Perhaps we should discuss the medical procedures." "I'll do it," Amar interrupted. "The donation. Whatever you need. I already told you that on the phone." "Amar. But we need to be clear about something, Juno." She looked directly at me for the first time, and the ice in her gaze could have frozen hell. "I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing this because Nari asked me if the sick man was going to die, and I couldn't tell my daughter yes. That's it. That's the only reason you're going to live. I understand. Do you?" She laughed, sharp and bitter. "I'm saving your life, and I want you to know that it doesn't mean I forgive you. It doesn't mean we're okay. It doesn't mean you get to be their father just because we share DNA. It means you get to breathe. Nothing more." Tay tugged on her sweater. "Mama, tired." "I know, baby. Almost done." She kissed his forehead, and something in my chest cracked watching it. "Dr. Chun, when do you need me? We can run preliminary tests today, if you're willing. The actual procedure would be in 3 days." "Fine. Let's get started." She looked at Mincio. "Can you watch them for an hour? They've been in the car all morning." My brother nodded, already moving forward. "Of course. Hi, you two. I'm your Uncle Mincio. You want to see the cool fish tank downstairs?" Nari's eyes lit up. "Fish?" Amar hesitated, that protective mother look crossing her face, but Mincio gave her a reassuring smile. "I've got them. I promise." She watched them leave, her babies following a stranger, and I saw her hands shake slightly before she tucked them into her pockets. "Amar, I don't." She held up a hand. "I'm here for the medical stuff. That's it. You don't get to explain. You don't get to apologize. You definitely don't get to act like seeing your kids for the first time is some emotional moment we're sharing. You gave up that right when you chose your family over your wife. I was wrong. Yes, you were." She moved toward the door. "Now let's go save your life so I can get my children away from this place and never come back." The next 3 days were torture. Not the physical stuff, the blood draws, the tests, the preparation for surgery. That was nothing compared to watching Amar move through the hospital like a ghost. There but not there, present but completely unreachable. She stayed in a hotel nearby, refused to stay at my apartment, refused money for expenses, refused everything except the medical necessities. Mincio became her unexpected ally. He'd show up at her hotel with food, offering to watch the twins while she rested. She accepted, probably because she could see the genuine remorse in his eyes. My brother had always liked Amar, had been the only one in my family to show up at our wedding. "She's scared," he told me the night before the surgery. "She's terrified she's making a mistake, but she's doing it anyway because those kids love her too much to let her live with the guilt. I don't deserve her saving me." "No, you don't." Mincio handed me water for my pre-surgery medication. But maybe that's the point. Maybe grace isn't about deserving it. They prepped Amar first, early morning before dawn. I wasn't allowed to see her, but I knew she was 2 floors down, going under anesthesia, letting them extract part of her bone marrow to save the man who'd abandoned her. The guilt was worse than the illness. "Mr. Lee, we're ready for you." The anesthesiologist smiled warmly. "Your donor is doing great. This is going to work." I wanted to believe him. They wheeled me into the operating room, all bright lights and cold metal. Dr. Chun was already scrubbed in, looking confident despite the complexity of the procedure. "Count backward from 10, Juno." 10, 9, 8. The last thing I thought about was Amar's face. The way she'd looked at me in that hospital room. Not with hate. Worse, with indifference. Like I was already a ghost. I woke up 12 hours later, feeling like I'd been hit by a truck. "Easy." Mincio was there, looking exhausted. "You're okay. The transplant took. Dr. Chun says your body is already accepting the new marrow." Amar, recovering in her room. "Woke up an hour ago. She's asking about the twins." Of course she was. Even half-conscious from anesthesia, her first thought was them. "Can I see her?" Absolutely not. A nurse I didn't recognize bustled in to check my vitals. "You both need rest. Maybe in a few days, if Dr. Chin approves." A few days. I had a few days to figure out how to say everything I'd failed to say 3 years ago. They moved me to a recovery room the next morning. Private, quiet, overlooking the hospital gardens. Expensive enough that I knew my father had paid for it, which made me want to rip out my four and leave. Mincio brought updates on Amar. "She's doing well. Better than expected, actually. Strong constitution. The twins. With her. Hospital bent the rules. They've been sleeping in her room." He smiled. "Tay tried to give her his stuffed tiger this morning. For healing. That image, my son, giving his favorite toy to his mother, destroyed me. I need to see them. Junie. I need to see my kids, Mincio. Even if it's from a distance. Even if they don't know who I am." I tried to sit up, failed, gasped at the pain. "Please." He studied me for a long moment. Then nodded. "I'll see what I can do." What he did was convince the nurses to wheel me past Amar's room during her physical therapy session. Casually, he whispered, "Like we're just taking a walk. Don't be weird." Too late. I was already weird. We rolled past, and through the open door, I saw them. Amar was walking laps around her room, and four-pole in one hand, Nari holding the other. Tay sat on the bed, chattering away about something that made Amar smile. Actually smile, soft and genuine. She looked tired, pale. There was a bandage on her lower back from the extraction site. She was in pain because of me, and she was still being the most incredible mother I'd ever seen. "Mama, faster." Nari tugged her hand. "Slow down, baby. Mama's still healing." "But the nurse said walking makes you better." "It does. But we walk at Mama's speed, okay?" Nari nodded seriously, then adjusted her pace to match Amar's slower steps. My heart cracked open watching it. "Come on," Mincio whispered, starting to wheel me past. But Tay looked up, made direct eye contact with me. Then he waved. Just a small wave. Fingers wiggling. Nothing dramatic. I waved back, throat tight. Amar followed his gaze, saw me, and her expression shuddered immediately. She turned away, guiding Nari toward the window. Dismissing me. Erasing me. Like I was nothing. Dr. Chin discharged Amar 4 days post-surgery. I was still hospitalized, my body taking longer to recover from the transplant. "I'd be there another week minimum," he said. Maybe 2. I didn't see Amar before she left. Mincio brought me her note. 1 paragraph, written on hospital letterhead in her familiar handwriting. Asterisk, "The donation is complete. Your body accepted the marrow. According to Dr. Chun, you should make a full recovery. I'm returning to Busan with the children. Please don't contact me. This doesn't change anything between us. I saved your life because it was the right thing to do, not because I owe you anything. Take care of yourself, Juno. Goodbye." Asterisk. No signature. No forwarding address. Nothing. She'd saved my life and then disappeared, just like 3 years ago. Except this time, she'd taken my children with her. The story's just getting started. Drop a like if you're ready to see how Juno fights his way back. Because he's going to fight. 2 weeks after discharge, I stood in front of my bathroom mirror and barely recognized myself. Thinner. Paler. Alive. Thanks to a woman who hated me. "You look like a ghost who got rejected from the afterlife," Mincio said from my bedroom doorway. Eat something. Not hungry. Juno, you can't just. I hired 3 private investigators. I turned to face him. All 3 came back with the same address in Busan. A small art studio near Houndy Beach. She's teaching painting classes. Mincio's expression shifted from concerned brother to what the hell are you doing, brother? Real fast. You hired investigators? To stalk your ex-wife? To find my children? Your children that she's been raising alone for 3 years? Those children. He crossed his arms. What's your plan here, genius? Show up and demand visitation. I don't know yet. Well, that's comforting. He grabbed my phone off the nightstand. Let me save you some time and embarrassment. You can't just appear in Busan like some Korean drama hero and expect. I'm going tomorrow. Tomorrow? You can barely walk upstairs without getting winded. Then I'll take the elevator. I pulled on a sweater, wincing at the movement. I've already booked a place. Month-to-month rental. Near her studio. Mincio stared at me like I'd announced plans to join the circus. You're moving to Busan. Temporarily. To do what exactly? Be near them. I met his eyes. I missed 3 years, Mincio. 3 years of birthdays and first words, and my voice cracked. I can't miss any more. He was quiet for a long moment. Then he sighed. The deep sigh of a brother who knew arguing was pointless. Father's going to lose his mind. Father can join the club. There's complimentary refreshments. I grabbed my jacket. I'm leaving at dawn. You coming? To watch you crash and burn spectacularly? He grinned. Wouldn't miss it. Busan was beautiful in early autumn. The beach stretched golden and endless, tourists crowding the seafront despite the cooling weather. Seagulls screamed overhead. The smell of grilled fish and salt water mixed together in a way that was nothing like Seoul's sterile corporate air. I could see why Amar chose this place. It was alive. Free. Exactly what our marriage hadn't been. That's the studio. Mincio pointed to a small building wedged between a cafe and a bookstore. Hand-painted sign, Osei Art Space. Bright colors, cheerful flowers, completely Amar. Through the window, I could see her. She wore paint-splattered overalls, her natural hair wrapped in a colorful scarf, guiding a teenage student through brush techniques. She was smiling, laughing, completely in her element. I'd never seen her teach before. During our marriage, my family had made it clear her little painting hobby wasn't suitable for a chaebol wife. She'd stopped creating, stopped teaching, stopped being herself. Watching her now felt like seeing color for the first time. She looks happy, Mincio said quietly. Yeah, you're about to ruin that. I know. We stood there like creeps for another 10 minutes before a voice behind us said, if you're going to stalk someone, maybe don't stand directly in front of their workplace window. I spun around. A Korean woman in her 50s stood there, grocery bags in hand, eyebrow raised in judgment. She looked vaguely familiar. We're not. I started. You're Lee Juno. I remember you from the wedding. She shifted her bags. I'm Mrs. Park. I own the cafe next door. Also Amar's landlord and unofficial grandmother to those beautiful babies. Oh no. I can explain. Don't bother. Amar already told me you might show up eventually. She jerked her head toward the cafe. Come. We talk. You stand out here like lost puppies, you'll scare away her students. Mincio and I exchanged glances, then followed her like scolded children. Mrs. Park's cafe was cozy. Warm wood, mismatched furniture, the smell of fresh coffee and cinnamon rolls. She settled us at a corner table and brought over 3 cups without asking what we wanted. Drink. You look terrible. Everyone keeps saying that. I muttered. Because it's true. She sat across from us. So, you had the transplant. How did you? Amar doesn't keep secrets from me. We're close. She sipped her coffee. She saved your life. Then came back here and cried for 3 days straight. My chest tightened. She cried. Of course she cried. The man she loved chose his family over her, divorced her while she was pregnant, and 3 years later she had to cut herself open to keep him alive. Mrs. Park's expression was steel. What did you expect? Celebration. I didn't know about the pregnancy. Would it have mattered? Would you have stood up to your father? She leaned forward. Or would you have done exactly what you did before? Chosen the easy path. The question hung in the air like smoke. I was a coward, I said finally. I was weak and selfish, and I destroyed the best thing in my life because I couldn't stand up to people who didn't deserve my loyalty. Good. Admitting it is step one. She refilled my cup. Step two is proving you've changed. Words are cheap, Mr. Lee. Action is everything. That's why I'm here. To do what? Win her back. She laughed. You can't win back something you threw away. You have to build something new. From scratch. And it might not look anything like what you had before. Mincio nodded. She's right. I just want to know my kids, I said. Even if Amar never forgives me. Even if she hates me forever. I need to know Nari and Tay. Mrs. Park studied me for a long moment. Then she stood, pulling out her phone. What are you doing? I asked. Calling Amar. Telling her you're here. She started dialing. Because if you show up unannounced, she'll run. And those babies don't need to see their mother running scared. 20 minutes later, Amar walked into the cafe. She'd changed out of the overalls into jeans and a yellow sweater that made her skin glow. Her expression was carefully neutral, but I could see tension in her shoulders. Juno. Mincio. She nodded at us, then sat next to Mrs. Park like she needed backup. Mrs. Park said you wanted to talk. I did. I do. Words felt impossible suddenly. You look good. You look like death. I've upgraded from mostly dead to slightly alive. Progress. Her lips twitched. Almost a smile. Your health is stable? Dr. Chun says I'll make a full recovery. Thanks to you. Don't. She held up a hand. We're not doing the gratitude thing. You needed bone marrow. I had bone marrow. Transaction complete. It wasn't a transaction, Amar. Wasn't it? She folded her arms. What are you doing in Busan, Juno? I rented an apartment. Near here. Her eyes widened. You what? I want to be near my kids. I want to know them. I leaned forward. I'm not asking for custody. I'm not asking to disrupt your life. I'm just asking for a chance to be part of theirs. No. The word was immediate. Final. Amar. You don't get to show up 3 years later and play father. Her voice stayed calm, but her hands shook slightly. You don't get to decide you want them now that it's convenient. It's not about convenience. Then what is it about? Guilt? Your biological clock? Some midlife crisis because you almost died? She stood. Those are my children, Juno. Mine. I raised them alone. I was there for every fever, every nightmare, every milestone. You don't get to waltz in because you suddenly feel paternal. Okay, this is getting intense. Smash that like button if you think Juno deserves a chance. Or if you're Team Amar all the way. Mrs. Park cleared her throat. Amar, sit down. Mrs. Park. Sit. Her voice was gentle but firm. Hear him out. Then decide. Amar sat, jaw tight. I took a breath. You're right. About everything. I don't deserve a chance. I don't deserve to know them. But they deserve to know they have a father who wants to try. I pulled out my phone, showed her the calendar I'd created. I'm not asking for much. 1 hour a week. Supervised. At a park or here at the cafe. Wherever you're comfortable. 1 hour. She laughed bitterly. That's what you think fatherhood is? 1 hour a week. It's a start. It's more than I have now. And when you get bored, when it gets hard, when your family starts pressuring you again. She leaned forward. What happens to Nari and Tay when you disappear a second time? I won't. You already did. I was different then. Prove it. She stood again. You want to be their father? Fine. Prove you've changed. Prove you can stand up to your family. Prove you can be consistent. She grabbed her jacket. 1 hour. Saturday afternoon. The beach playground near the studio. Miss it, and we're done. Forever. She walked out before I could respond. Mincio whistled low. Well, that went better than expected. How was that better? She didn't throw her coffee at you. With Amar, that's practically a warm welcome. Mrs. Park chuckled. He's not wrong. She's softening. That was soft. For Amar? Yes. She patted my hand. She's scared, Mr. Lee. Scared of hoping. Scared of being hurt again. Scared of her children being hurt. Her expression turned serious. Don't prove her fears right. Saturday came faster than I expected. I changed clothes 4 times. Mincio finally threw a sweater at me and said, Wear this, or I'm dragging you to the beach in your underwear. What if they hate me? They're 2 years old. They don't hate anyone except bedtime. He checked his watch. But they will hate you if you're late. Move. The beach playground was crowded with families. Kids screaming on swings. Parents chatting on benches. Completely normal. Completely terrifying. Then I saw them. Amar sat on a blanket, building a sandcastle with Nari. Tay was nearby, very seriously organizing seashells by size. Both kids wore matching yellow raincoats despite the clear sky. My heart stopped. Breathe, Mincio whispered. Just breathe and don't be weird. I walked over. Slowly, like approaching wild animals. Amar looked up. You came. I said I would. People say a lot of things. She turned to the twins. Nari, Tay, come here, babies. They scrambled over, all chubby legs and big eyes. This is Mr. Lee, Amar said carefully. He's going to play with us today? Is that okay? Nari studied me seriously. You were the sick man. At the hospital. I was. I'm better now. Thanks to your mama. Mama's brave. She got medicine from inside her body to help you. Nari said it like she was explaining quantum physics. It hurt her back. Guilt crushed my chest. Your mama is the bravest person I know. Tay tugged on Amar's sleeve. Is he staying? Just for a little while. Okay. Tay handed me a seashell. This one's broken, but still pretty. I took it with shaking hands. It's perfect. Thank you. And just like that, my son went back to his shell collection. Like giving pieces of the ocean to strangers was completely normal. Amar's expression softened slightly. They're friendly. Don't read too much into it. But I was already reading everything into it. That first hour was awkward. Beautiful. Devastating. I helped Nari build her castle while Amar supervised with the intensity of a bodyguard. Tay eventually warmed up enough to show me his entire shell collection, explaining the difference between smooth ones and bumpy ones with the seriousness of a museum curator. Do you like the ocean? Nari asked, patting sand onto her castle. I do now. Mama says the ocean is big enough for all our feelings, even the sad ones. I looked at Amar. She was watching the water, expression distant. Your mama's very smart, I said. I know. She knows everything. Nari added a stick for a flag. She says one day I'll be smart too. You're already smart. She beamed at me, and something in my chest cracked open. When the hour ended, Amar started packing up their toys. Same time next week? I asked. She hesitated. We'll see. Amar. I said we'll see, Juno. But her voice was softer. You showed up. That's something. It wasn't much, but it was a start. The next Saturday, I brought a kite. You trying to win them over with gifts? Amar asked, but there was amusement in her voice. I'm trying to be fun. I have no idea what I'm doing. Clearly. She took the kite, examined it. This is too advanced for toddlers. Oh. She laughed, actually laughed, and the sound was sunlight. But we can try. Come on. We spent an hour trying to get that stupid kite airborne. Nari ran in circles. They got tangled in the string. I nearly knocked myself out with the crossbar. Amar laughed through all of it. And for the first time in 3 years, I felt alive. Third Saturday, it rained. I showed up anyway, standing under the playground pavilion like an idiot. Amar appeared with an umbrella, kids in tow. You came. In a storm. I said I would. She stared at me for a long moment. Then she said, there's a children's museum nearby. Indoor activities. We could all go? If you want. I want. The museum was chaos. Nari loved the art section. Tay was obsessed with the dinosaur exhibit. I bought them both overpriced stuffed animals from the gift shop. Amar didn't stop me. Progress. Fourth Saturday, Amar said, they're starting to ask about you during the week. We were watching the kids play on the swings, close enough to supervise, far enough for privacy. What do they ask? If Mr. Lee is coming. What you're like. Why you visit. She tucked her hair behind her ear. Nari asked if you were our friend. What did you tell her? That it's complicated. Is it? She looked at me. Really looked. Yes, Juno. It's incredibly complicated. Does it have to be? You broke my heart. You chose your family over me. Over us. Her voice cracked. And now you're here, being consistent and kind, and I don't know what to do with that. You don't have to do anything. Just, let me keep showing up. Let me prove I've changed. And if you haven't? If this is temporary? It's not. You don't know that. Yes, I do. I turned to face her fully. Because losing you was the worst thing that ever happened to me. And I'm not losing them too. She looked away, but not before I saw tears in her eyes. Things are shifting. Are you feeling this slow burn? Comment below if you think they should give love another shot. Week 6, Amar invited me to Nari's birthday party. It's small, she said quickly. Just Mrs. Park, some kids from my art class, and a few neighbors. Nothing fancy. I'll be there. The party was at the studio, decorated with balloons and streamers, and a homemade cake that listed slightly to one side. Nari wore a princess dress. Tay wore a dinosaur costume for moral support. I brought presents. Too many presents. Mincio had helped me shop, and we'd gone overboard. Juno, Amar said, staring at the pile. This is excessive. I missed 3 birthdays. I'm making up for it. She shook her head, but she was smiling. The party was perfect. Chaotic and loud and full of joy. I helped with games, cut cake, took a million photos on my phone. At one point, Nari climbed into my lap while opening presents. Just climbed up. Like it was normal. Like I was safe. I looked at Amar. She was watching us, expression unreadable. Then Tay joined, squishing in next to his sister. And I was holding both my children. For the first time ever. I didn't cry, but it was close. After the party, after the kids crashed from sugar highs and Mrs. Park herded guests out, Amar and I cleaned up the studio. Thank you, she said quietly. For coming. For being here. Thank you for inviting me. The kids love you. That's obvious now. My heart squeezed. I love them too. I know. She threw away paper plates. That's what scares me. Amar. My lawyer sent papers to your office yesterday. Official custody arrangement. Supervised visitation, weekends, holidays split. She wouldn't look at me. It's legal now. You can't just disappear. I set down the trash bag. I was never going to disappear. I need it in writing, Juno. I need protection. For them and for me. Okay. Whatever you need. She finally met my eyes. I'm terrified of this. Of letting you in. Of hoping again. I know. If you hurt them, I won't. I swear on everything I have, I won't. I stepped closer. I'm not the man you married, Amar. That man was weak. Selfish. But I'm trying to be better. Every day, I'm trying. She studied my face, searching for lies. For cracks. Then, carefully, she said, my family is coming to visit next month. From London. Okay. They're going to have questions. About you. About us. I'll answer them. They hated what you did to me. What your family did. I don't blame them. She bit her lip. My mother will probably throw something at you. I'll duck. And there it was, that smile. Small but real. You're impossible, she said. I'm persistent. Same thing. We finished cleaning in comfortable silence. And when I left that night, Amar walked me to the door instead of watching from a distance. Baby steps, but steps nonetheless. Then everything changed. Week 7. I showed up at the playground and Amar wasn't alone. A man stood next to her. Tall, British, handsome in that effortless way that made me immediately hate him. He was pushing Tay on the swing while chatting with Amar, making her laugh. My stomach dropped. I walked over slowly, trying to control the jealousy burning in my chest. Juno. Nari spotted me first, running over. Mr. Lee is here. The British man turned. Extended his hand. Ah, you must be Juno. I'm Daniel. Amar's friend from university. Friend. The word did nothing to calm my nerves. Nice to meet you, I managed. Daniel's in Busan for a conference, Amar explained. He stopped by to say hello. Month-long conference, Daniel added cheerfully. Plenty of time to catch up with this one. He nudged Amar playfully. This one. I was going to murder him. How nice, I said through gritted teeth. Amar's eyes narrowed. She could read me, even after all this time. Daniel, would you mind watching the kids for a moment? Juno and I need to talk. Of course. Come on, little monsters. Let's build the biggest sandcastle ever. The twins cheered and dragged him toward the sand. Amar grabbed my arm, pulled me aside. Stop it. Stop what? The jealous alpha male routine. It doesn't suit you. But she was fighting a smile. I'm not jealous. You look like you want to challenge him to a duel. Maybe I do. She laughed. Actually laughed. Juno, Daniel is married. To a man. A very large man who could bench press you. Oh, I wasn't. You absolutely were. She poked my chest. And it's not your place to be jealous anyway. We're not together. I know. Do you? She tilted her head. Because you're looking at me like I'm yours. Old habits. Well, break them. But the way she said it, soft, almost teasing, made me think maybe she didn't want me to break them completely. Maybe she liked being looked at like she was mine. Maybe there was hope after all. Week 8 started normal. Then my father showed up. I was having coffee with Mrs. Park, discussing ways to be more involved with the twins, when Mincio burst through the cafe door like the building was on fire. We have a problem. Good morning to you too, Mrs. Park said dryly. Father knows. About the kids. About Busan. About everything. Mincio was breathing hard. He's on his way here. Right now. My blood went cold. How did he find out? Does it matter? He knows. And he's bringing mother and the family lawyers. Mincio checked his watch. They'll be here in 20 minutes. I was already moving, pulling out my phone. I need to warn Amar. Warn me about what? I spun around. Amar stood in the cafe doorway, the twins holding her hands, looking between us with concern. Juno, what's happening? Before I could answer, 3 black sedans pulled up outside. Executive. Expensive. Intimidating. My father stepped out first. Lee Dae-young looked exactly like I remembered. Tall, severe, dressed in a suit that cost more than most people's monthly rent. My mother followed, elegant and cold. Behind them, 2 men in suits carrying briefcases. The lawyers. Oh hell, Mincio muttered. Mrs. Park stood immediately. Amar, take the children upstairs. My apartment. Now. What? What? Now. The tone left no room for argument. Amar scooped up Tae, grabbed Nari's hand, and disappeared through the back entrance. Just as my father walked in. Juno. He said my name like a curse. We need to talk. There's nothing to discuss. On the contrary, he glanced at the lawyers. There's quite a bit to discuss. Starting with the illegitimate children you've been hiding. Mrs. Park gasped. How dare you? Mrs. Park, please stay out of family business. My mother's voice was ice. This doesn't concern you. Like hell it doesn't. This is my cafe. Father, you need to leave. I stepped forward, putting myself between him and the back entrance. Right now. I'll leave when we've settled this matter legally. He nodded to the lawyers. We're prepared to offer Ms. Osei a substantial settlement in exchange for full custody of the children. The world tilted. Excuse me. The children are Lee family heirs. They belong with us, receiving proper education and upbringing. He said it like he was discussing stock options. Ms. Osei is clearly unfit, raising them in this quaint establishment, teaching art classes for minimum wage. Get out. My voice was deadly quiet. Get out before I throw you out. Juno, be reasonable. I said get out. The cafe went silent. My father's expression hardened. You would choose this woman over your family? Again, she's not this woman. Her name is Amar. And those children upstairs. I moved closer. They're mine. My family. And you will never, ever, get near them. You can't stop us. My mother stepped forward. We have rights. Grandparent rights. We can petition the courts. Try it. Mincio cut in, voice sharp. Try it, and watch what happens. I have documentation of every racist thing this family said about Amar during the marriage. Every insult. Every threat. A judge will love that. My mother paled. You wouldn't, father said. Watch me. Mincio pulled out his phone. I've been recording family dinners for years. Insurance policy. Want me to play some highlights? The lawyers shifted uncomfortably. Father's jaw clenched. This isn't over. Yes, it is. I opened the cafe door. Leave Busan. Leave Amar alone. Leave my children alone. Or I go public with everything. The verbal abuse, the pressure to divorce, all of it. See how the shareholders feel about the company image then. It was a bluff. Mostly. But my father didn't know that. He stared at me for a long moment. Then he turned to the lawyers. Let's go. Clearly my son has lost his mind. They filed out in silence. My mother paused at the door. You're making a mistake, Juno. No, mother. I'm fixing one. She left without another word. The cafe stayed silent for a full minute after the cars drove away. Then Mrs. Park said, well, that was dramatic. I collapsed into a chair, adrenaline crashing. Oh my God, you stood up to him. Mincio sat across from me, looking stunned. You actually stood up to father. I should have done it years ago. Better late than never. Mrs. Park headed for the stairs. I'll get Amar and the babies. They're probably terrified. Amar came down 5 minutes later, kids clinging to her like barnacles. Are they gone? She asked quietly. They're gone. She set Tay down, kneeled to eye level with both twins. Nari, Tay, go play in the reading corner. Mama needs to talk to the grown-ups. Is everything okay? Nari's voice was small. Everything's fine, baby. Go on. They went, reluctantly, glancing back every few steps. Amar stood, faced me, and her expression was pure fury. Your family wants to take my children. They're not going to. They tried to buy them, Juno. Like property. Her voice shook. This is exactly what I was afraid of. This is why I disappeared. Amar, I stopped them. For now? What about next time? What about when they file legal motions? She wrapped her arms around herself. I can't fight your family. I don't have money for lawyers. I don't have connections. You're not just anything. I stood, moved closer. And you're not alone in this. I have money. I have lawyers. And I meant what I said. They'll never touch those kids. You can't promise that. Yes, I can. I caught her hand. I'm choosing you, Amar. I'm choosing them. I already told my father to go to hell. What more do you need? She pulled her hand back. I need you to understand what you're asking me to risk. If this goes to court, if your family fights for custody, her voice broke. I could lose them. You won't. You don't know that. Then marry me. The words fell out before I could stop them. Everyone froze. Mincio choked on his coffee. Mrs. Park's eyes went wide. Amar stared at me like I'd sprouted a second head. What did you just say? Oh God. Oh no. Too soon. Way too soon. But I was already committed. Marry me. Legally, it strengthens your case. Married parents, stable home, two-income household. I was talking too fast, scrambling. The courts favor intact families. My family can't argue you're unfit if we're together. That's your proposal? Her voice was dangerously quiet. A legal strategy? No. I mean, yes, but also, I ran a hand through my hair. I'm doing this badly. You think? Okay, did not see that coming. Drop a comment if you think Juno just ruined everything, or if this might actually work. Mincio stood. I'm going to be literally anywhere else. Me too. Mrs. Park grabbed her purse. Come on, Mincio. Let's take the children for ice cream. But I started. You two need privacy. Nari. Tay. Ice cream trip. The twins cheered and scrambled over. Within 2 minutes, the cafe was empty except for me and Amar. And the wreckage of my terrible proposal. I'm sorry, I said immediately. That came out wrong. You proposed marriage as a legal defense. She laughed, sharp and bitter. That's a new low, even for you. It's not just legal strategy. I took a breath. I want my family back, Amar. Not the broken one we had before. A new one, built on honesty and respect and... Stop. She held up a hand. Just stop talking. I stopped. She paced the cafe, arms wrapped tight around herself. 3 months ago, I saved your life and told you we were done. That nothing would change. I know. 2 months ago, you showed up in Busan and I told you to leave us alone. I know. 4 weeks ago, I started letting you see the kids because you were consistent. Because you showed up. She turned to face me. And now you're proposing marriage to fight your family? I'm proposing because I never stopped loving you. Her breath caught. I'm proposing because watching you raise our children alone kills me, I continued. Because every Saturday I get to spend with you and Nari and Tay is the best day of my week. Because I was an idiot 3 years ago, and I've spent every day since then regretting it. Juno. But if you need it to be legal strategy, fine. Marry me to protect the kids. Marry me so my family can't touch them. Marry me for whatever reason you need. I moved closer. Just marry me. She stared at me for a long moment. Then she slapped me. Not hard, but enough to sting. Ow. What? That's for the worst proposal in human history. But her eyes were wet. You don't propose to someone as a legal defense, you idiot. I panicked. Clearly, she wiped her eyes. And for the record, I'm not marrying you. My heart sank. Amar, I'm not marrying you right now. She poked my chest. You want to marry me? You want this family? Then you court me properly. You date me like we're starting over. You prove this isn't just about the kids or fighting your family. Hope flickered. You want me to date you? I want you to woo me, Juno. I want romance. I want effort. I want to know you love me, not just the idea of a family. I do love you. Then show me. She stepped back. No more surprise proposals. No more legal strategies. Just try. Actually try to win my heart back. I can do that. Good. She grabbed her jacket. Now I'm going to get my children from Mrs. Park before they eat their weight in ice cream. She headed for the door, then paused. For what it's worth, telling your father to go to hell was incredibly hot. Then she left, and I stood there grinning like an idiot. I had a chance. A real chance. The next week, I went full romantic hero mode. Flowers delivered to the studio. Not roses. She'd always preferred wildflowers. A new easel for her art space. The professional kind she'd wanted during our marriage, but never bought because my family thought it was wasteful. I showed up to Saturday playground time with a picnic basket. Homemade food, because Amar had always loved cooking together. Did you make this? She asked, eyeing the kimbap suspiciously. Mincio helped. I only burned 3 batches. She laughed. So you're trying. I'm trying very hard. Nari grabbed a piece. It's good. Mr. Lee can cook. Mr. Lee is full of surprises, Amar said, but she was smiling. Week 2 of Project Woo Amar, Mincio's name, not mine. I arranged a private art show. Just for her. I rented a small gallery in Busan, contacted every artist she'd mentioned admiring, and set up an evening exhibition. Juno, this is too much, she whispered, staring at paintings by her favorite contemporary artists. It's not enough. You're being dramatic. I'm being honest. I handed her a glass of wine. You sacrificed your art for my family. I want you to remember why you love it. Her eyes got wet. I never stopped loving it. I know. You're brilliant, Amar. You always were. She looked at me then, really looked, and something shifted in her expression. You really have changed, haven't you? I'm trying to be the man you deserved the first time. She took my hand, squeezed it gently. Progress. Week 3. Things got complicated. Amar's family arrived from London. Her mother, a formidable Ghanaian woman named Abina, took one look at me and said, So you're the bastard who broke my daughter's heart. Mama, Amar gasped. It's accurate, I said. I am trying to make amends. Abina circled me like a predator. Trying. How nice. My daughter raised 2 children alone while you played corporate prince in Seoul. I know. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't pay hospital bills. Sorry doesn't survive toddler tantrums at 2 a.m. Sorry doesn't. Mama, please. Amar stepped between us. He's been good to the kids. He's been consistent. For 3 months. 3 months versus 3 years. I know the math doesn't add up, I said quietly. But I'm not going anywhere. I'm here for however long it takes to prove I've changed. Abina studied me. Then she turned to Amar. You're really considering him? After everything. I don't know yet, Amar admitted. But maybe. Her father, a quiet British man named David, put a hand on his wife's shoulder. Abina, let's give them space. Space. He had 3 years of space. And he's here now, using that space to show up. David extended his hand to me. I'm David. Nice to finally meet you properly. I shook it, grateful for the reprieve. But Abina wasn't done. You hurt her again, and they won't find your body. Understand. Perfectly. Good. She softened slightly. Now where are my grandbabies? I need cuddles. Having Amar's parents around was terrifying and wonderful. Terrifying because Abina watched me like a hawk, analyzing every interaction. Wonderful because I got to see Amar relaxed. Happy. Surrounded by people who loved her unconditionally. One evening, while the twins played with their grandparents, Amar and I walked along the beach. Your mother hates me, I said. She's protecting me. Can you blame her? Not even a little. We walked in comfortable silence for a while. Then Amar said, They're leaving in a few days. Back to London. Will you miss them? Always. But they'll visit again. She glanced at me. Mama asked if you were serious. About us. What did you tell her? That I'm figuring it out. She stopped walking. Are you? Serious? Completely. Even with everything? The complicated history, the kids, my overprotective family. Especially with all of that. I reached for her hand. Amar, I don't want easy. I want real. I want messy and complicated and beautiful. I want you. She bit her lip. I'm scared. Me too. But I think. She took a breath. I think I'm ready to try. Really try. My heart soared. Yeah. Yeah. She smiled. But you're still wooing me. I want at least 3 more months of romantic gestures before I even think about. I kissed her. Just leaned in and kissed her, right there on the beach, with the sunset painting everything gold. She froze for half a second. Then she kissed me back, and it was like coming home. When we finally broke apart, she was breathless. That was 3 years overdue. I finished. Juno, I love you. I never stopped. And I'm going to spend every day proving it. She touched my face gently. You're such an idiot. You're idiot? Maybe. She grinned. Ask me again in 3 months. But we didn't get 3 months. 2 weeks later, everything exploded. I was at the studio, playing blocks with Tay while Amar taught a class, when my phone rang. Mincio. Frantic. Juno, we have a massive problem. What now? Father didn't give up. He filed an emergency custody petition. Claims you're mentally unstable from the transplant. That Amar is an unfit mother. That the children are in danger. No. No. He can't. He did. Court date is in 2 weeks. His lawyers are good, Juno. Really good. Mincio's voice cracked. They're going for full custody. Taking the kids away from both of you. The world tilted. Amar appeared in the doorway. Juno? What's wrong? I looked at her. At Tay playing happily. At Nari painting with her class. We need to talk. Oh no. This is getting serious. Hit that subscribe button because part 4 is going to be explosive, and you won't believe how this ends. I told her everything. The custody petition. My father's claims. The court date. Amar went pale. Then red. Then eerily calm. They're actually doing this. I won't let them win. How? How do we fight this? Her voice rose. I'm a single mother art teacher. You're a recovering transplant patient. On paper, we look exactly like what they're claiming. Then we changed the paper. What does that even mean? I grabbed her hands. Marry me. Right now. Today. Juno. I know I said you have 3 months. I know I was supposed to will you properly. But we don't have time. I squeezed her hands. Marry me, and we present a united front. Stable family. 2 parents. We kill their whole argument. This is insane. I know. This is exactly what you proposed last time. I know. And I said no. I know. I took a breath. But that was before your children were at risk. Before my father proved he'll stop at nothing. This isn't romantic. It's not ideal. But it's necessary. She pulled away, pacing. So we get married out of desperation. Great foundation for a relationship. We get married because we love each other and it protects the kids. Both things can be true. Can they? Amar, I love you. I want to marry you whether or not my father is a nightmare. But right now? Right now we need every advantage. I moved closer. So I'm asking again, badly, desperately, but honestly. Will you marry me? She stared at me for a long time. Then she said, I need to think. And walked away. She avoided me for 2 days. 2 agonizing days where I imagined every worst-case scenario. Then, on the 3rd day, she showed up at my apartment. With the twins. In a suitcase. We're staying here, she announced, pushing past me. What? If we're presenting a united front, we need to actually be united. So we're moving in. Trial basis. She set down the suitcase. Kids, go explore. Don't break anything expensive. They ran off, giggling. I stared at her. You're moving in. Temporarily. To build a case. She crossed her arms. But there are rules. Okay. 1. Separate bedrooms. We're not rushing physical intimacy. Agreed. 2. The kids come first. Always. No matter what. Obviously. 3. If we do this marriage thing, and that's still an if, it's real. Not just legal. We actually work on us. I want that. 4. She stepped closer. You tell your father that even if he wins in court, which he won't, he'll never see those children. Ever. Make it clear. Consider it done. She studied my face. You're really ready for this? This war with your family. I've been ready since the moment I saw you walk into that hospital room. Okay. She took a breath. Then yes. I'll marry you. Fast, legal, whatever we need to protect them. Relief crashed through me. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. You're about to learn what living with toddlers is actually like. She grinned. Spoiler alert, it's chaos. I can handle chaos. We'll see. We got married 3 days later. City Hall. Quick ceremony. Mincio and Mrs. Park as witnesses. Amar wore a simple white dress. I wore a suit. The twins wore matching outfits and had no idea what was happening. Do you, Lee Juno, take Amar say to be your lawfully wedded wife? I do. Do you, Amar say, take Lee Juno to be your lawfully wedded husband? She hesitated. Just a second, then smiled. I do. You may kiss the bride. I leaned in, and she whispered, make it good. We have an audience. So I did. I kissed her like she was oxygen, like she was everything. And when we broke apart, Nari said, EU, kissing. But Tay clapped. So overall, success. That night, after the kids were asleep, Amar and I sat in our living room. This is weird, she said. Good weird or bad weird? Undecided weird. She curled into the couch. We're married. Again. Third time's the charm? This is the second time. I'm optimistic about our future. She laughed, then sobered. Court is in 10 days. We'll be ready. Will we? She looked at me. What if it's not enough? What if they still? They won't. I took her hand. I promise you, Amar. I will burn my entire family fortune to ash before I let them touch our kids. That's very dramatic. I'm a dramatic person. I'm noticing. We sat in comfortable silence. Then she said, I'm still scared. Me too. But I'm glad we're scared together. Me too. She leaned her head on my shoulder, and for the first time in 3 years, everything felt right. But the universe wasn't done with us yet. 5 days before court, I got a call from an unknown number. Mr. Lee? This is Detective Han from Busan Police. My stomach dropped. What's wrong? There's been an incident involving your father. We need you to come to the station immediately. The police station smelled like burnt coffee and broken dreams. Detective Han led me to a private room where my father sat, looking smaller than I'd ever seen him. His expensive suit was wrinkled. His perfect hair was disheveled. He looked old. What happened? I demanded. Your father was caught attempting to bribe a social worker. Detective Han said flatly. The social worker assigned to evaluate your custody case. He offered her 200 million won to file a negative report about Ms. Osei. My blood ran cold. He what? I was protecting the family, father said stiffly. Those children belong with us, not with some. Finish that sentence and I walk out of here forever. I interrupted, voice deadly calm. He closed his mouth. Detective Han continued. The social worker recorded the conversation and reported it immediately. Your father is being charged with attempted bribery and obstruction of justice. Good. Father's head snapped up. Juno, you tried to buy a custody case. You tried to steal my children using illegal means. I leaned forward. And you're going to face consequences for once in your miserable life. I'm your father. No. A father protects his children. Supports them. Loves them. I stood. You're just a man who shares my DNA. That's all you've ever been. Detective Han cleared his throat. Mr. Lee, the younger, you're free to go? We just needed your statement about the custody case. He's going to jail? Most likely probation and fines, given his age and lack of prior record. But this will be public. Han's expression was grim. The media will have a field day with a Chable attempting to bribe a social worker. Perfect. Thank you, detective. I headed for the door. Juno, wait. Father stood, hands shaking. You can't just leave me here. Watch me. I'm your father. I raised you. I built everything you have. I turned back. You built a prison. And I'm done living in it. I walked out and didn't look back. Amar was pacing the apartment when I got home, phone pressed to her ear. Yes, Mrs. Park, we're fine. No, don't come over. The kids are asleep. She saw me and her expression shifted. I'll call you back. She hung up and crossed the room in 3 strides. What happened? Mincio called and said something about police and your father in. I pulled her into a hug. Just held her. Juno. Her voice was muffled against my chest. You're scaring me. My father tried to bribe the social worker. To make you look unfit. She went rigid. What? The social worker reported him. He's being charged. It's over, Amar. The custody case, it's over. She pulled back, eyes wide. Are you sure? The social worker's testimony will destroy his case. No judge will grant custody to a family whose patriarch committed crimes to obtain it. I cupped her face. We won. We won, she repeated, like she couldn't believe it. Then she burst into tears. Happy tears, angry tears, relieved tears, everything at once. I held her while she cried, whispering reassurances, kissing her hair. It's over, I kept saying. You're safe. The kids are safe. It's over. The next morning, the news broke. Chable Ayer's father arrested for attempted bribery in custody case. My phone exploded with calls. Press, board members, business associates. I ignored all of them. Instead, I made breakfast for my wife and children. Pancakes, slightly burnt, but edible. Mr. Lee made breakfast. Nari announced, climbing into her chair. I can see that. Amar eyed the pancakes with amusement. Are they supposed to be that color? They're rustic. They're charcoal. Rustic charcoal. I set down plates. Hey, you want syrup? He nodded enthusiastically, already covered in the syrup he'd poured himself. This was what mattered. Not business empires or family legacies. Just this, messy breakfast with people I loved. Amar caught my expression and smiled. What? Nothing. Everything. I sat down. I'm just happy. Good. She reached across and squeezed my hand. You deserve to be happy. We're in the home stretch now. If this story has got you in your feelings, smash that like button and drop a comment about your favorite moment so far. The custody hearing happened anyway, for days later. Just a formality. My father's lawyers withdrew the petition, citing new circumstances. The judge dismissed it immediately, but we showed up anyway. Amar and I, dressed professionally, holding hands, making a statement. My father wasn't there. My mother wasn't there. But Mincio was. And Mrs. Park. And Amar's parents, who'd flown back from London for support. Case dismissed, the judge announced. Custody remains with the biological parents, Lee Juno and Amar Lee. Amar Lee. She'd taken my name. My heart squeezed hearing it. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. Mr. Lee, is it true your father tried to bribe officials? Mr. Lee, what's your relationship with your family now? Mr. Lee, are you and Mrs. Lee really married? I pulled Amar close and faced the cameras. My father made mistakes. Serious ones. He'll face consequences for those actions. I kept my voice steady. As for my family, my wife and children, we're moving forward. Together. That's all I have to say. We pushed through the crowd, Mincio running interference. When we finally got to the car, Amar let out a breath. That was intense. Welcome to my world. Your world is exhausting. Want to go back to yours? She looked at me seriously. I think we're building a new world. Together. I like that world. Me too. 3 weeks later, things settled into a new normal. I worked from home mostly, handling business remotely while being present for the kids. Amar kept teaching at her studio, creating beautiful art and nurturing young artists. We were figuring it out. The marriage, the parenting, the us of it all. Some days were hard. We argued about discipline styles and schedules, and whose turn it was to handle the 3 a.m. nightmare wake-up. But some days were perfect. Like the Saturday we took the twins to the beach and Nari built a sandcastle big enough for all of us to live in. Or the Tuesday Tay came running to me instead of Amar when he fell, because he wanted Appa to fix it. Appa. Dad. I cried in the bathroom for 10 minutes after that. He called me Appa. I told Amar later, still emotional. I know. I heard. She smiled. They're yours now, Juno. Fully, completely yours. They were always mine. No. Before, they were genetically yours. Now they're yours because you earned it. 1 month post-trial, my mother showed up at the apartment. Unannounced. I opened the door and just stared. Juno. She looked nervous. Actually nervous. May I come in? Why? I want to apologize. To you and to Amar. I didn't move. You had 3 years to apologize. I know. I was wrong. About everything. Her voice cracked. Your father is facing charges. The company is in chaos. And I realized I lost my son over pride and prejudice. Yes, you did. Can I please come in? 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking. I looked back at Amar, who stood in the living room, arms crossed protectively. She gave me a small nod. I stepped aside. Mother entered slowly, taking in the space. The toys scattered everywhere, the children's artwork on the walls, the general chaos of family life. It's beautiful, she said quietly. Mother, this is Amar. My wife. We've met, Amar said coolly. You called me unsuitable, if I remember correctly. Mother flinched. I did. I was cruel and wrong, and I have no excuse. She bowed, actually bowed, to Amar. I'm deeply sorry for the pain I caused you. Amar blinked, clearly not expecting that. And I'd like to meet my grandchildren, Mother continued. If you'll allow it. No pressure. No demands. Just a chance to know them. No, I said immediately. Juno, Amar touched my arm. She doesn't get access to our kids after what she did. Let her meet them. Amar's voice was firm but gentle. Supervised. Brief. We control the narrative. Amar, you don't have to. I know I don't have to. I want to. She looked at my mother. Not for you. For them. Every child deserves to know their family. Even complicated family. My mother's eyes welled up. Thank you. The meeting was awkward as hell. Mother sat stiffly on the couch while Nari and Tay examined her like a science experiment. Are you Appa's mama? Nari asked. Yes, I am. You're very shiny. Nari touched Mother's pearl necklace. Like a princess. Mother's composure cracked slightly. Thank you. You're very beautiful. You look like your mother. Everyone says I look like Appa. You look like both. The best of both. Tay climbed onto the couch next to her. Do you like dinosaurs? I don't know much about dinosaurs. I can teach you. He ran to get his toy collection. And just like that, my mother was learning about T-Rexes and Triceratops from my 3-year-old son. Amar sat next to me, watching carefully. She's trying. Trying isn't enough. No, but it's a start. She leaned into me. We don't have to forgive her today, or tomorrow, but maybe, eventually. You're too kind. I'm practical. I want the kids to have a grandmother who loves them. If she's willing to do the work, I'm willing to supervise. I kissed her temple. Have I mentioned you're incredible? Not in the last hour. I was getting worried. 2 months post-trial, Amar and I went on our first real date. Mrs. Park babysat. Mincio made reservations at a fancy restaurant. We dressed up like actual adults. This is weird, Amar said, fidgeting with her dress in the car. We're married with kids and going on a first date. We're doing everything backwards. Story of our relationship. The restaurant was beautiful, rooftop views, candlelight, the whole romantic setup. We ordered food we couldn't pronounce and laughed when we couldn't figure out which fork to use. Remember our first date? Amar asked. The food truck festival? You got teppanyaki sauce all over my white shirt. You said it added character. It did. I kept that shirt for 2 years. She smiled, soft and nostalgic. We were so young. So stupid. I was stupid. You were perfect. I was naive. I thought love could overcome anything. Can't it? She considered this. Love plus work. Love plus communication. Love plus actually showing up. She reached across the table. We have that now. The showing up part. I'll show up every day for the rest of my life. That's very dramatic. You love dramatic. I love you, she corrected. The dramatic is just a bonus. My heart stopped. Say that again. I love you, Lee Juno. Her eyes sparkled. I never completely stopped. Even when I hated you. Even when I ran away. Some part of me always loved you. I love you too. So much it's actually ridiculous. Good ridiculous or bad ridiculous? Best ridiculous. We finished dinner in comfortable conversation, talking about everything and nothing. Her new art classes, my work projects, the kids' latest antics. Then, over dessert, I pulled out a small box. Amar's eyes widened. Juno, we're already married. I know, but you deserved a proper proposal. A romantic one. I opened the box, revealing a simple gold band with a small diamond. Not a legal strategy. Not a desperate plea. Just me. asking the woman I love to spend her life with me. She laughed, tears streaming down her face. You're doing this now? In a fancy restaurant. I'm doing this right. I got down on one knee, ignoring the other diner's stares. Amaro say Lee, will you marry me? Again? For real this time. We're already legally married. So this is just romantic confirmation. She laughed harder. You're insane. Is that a yes? Yes, you idiot. Yes. She pulled me up and kissed me. Yes to all of it. The restaurant burst into applause. We didn't care. If you're not crying right now, you're lying. Hit subscribe because the ending is going to wreck you in the best way. 6 months later, we had a real wedding. Small ceremony on the beach in Busan. Just family and close friends. Amar wore a traditional white gown with Kent cloth accents. I wore a hanbok. The twins were flower girl and ring bearer, taking their jobs very seriously. Dearly beloved, the officiant began. Nari giggled. Tay waved at everyone. We're gathered here to celebrate the union of Juno and Amar. Again, Nari stage whispered. Everyone laughed. The ceremony was perfect. Messy and imperfect, and absolutely perfect. When we exchanged vows, I said, I promise to show up. Every day, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. I promise to choose you and our family over everything else. And I promise to never, ever stop fighting for us. Amar's vows destroyed me. I promise to trust you, to believe in your growth, to forgive the past and build the future with you. I promise to be your partner, your equal, your love. And I promise our children will always know they came from love. Complicated, messy, beautiful love. We kissed while our kids cheered and our families cried. Later, during the reception, Mincio gave a toast. I've known Juno my whole life, and I've never seen him as happy as he is right now. He raised his glass. To Amar, for saving my brother's life. Twice. Once with bone marrow. Once with love. Everyone drank to that. Even my mother, who'd slowly been working her way back into our lives through supervised visits and genuine effort. She approached us during the reception. Thank you for letting me be here. Thank Amar, I said. She's the forgiving one. I'm learning to be, Amar corrected. Slowly. Mother nodded. I don't deserve your forgiveness. Either of you. But I'm grateful for the chance to earn it. She walked away before either of us could respond. She's really trying, Amar observed. She has a long way to go. So did you. Look how that turned out. Fair point. That night, after the reception, after putting overexcited twins to bed, Amar and I stood on our apartment balcony. The ocean stretched endlessly before us, dark and peaceful. We did it, she said quietly. We actually made it. We're still making it. Every day. I know. But we made it past the hard part. The custody battle. The family drama. The rebuilding trust part. You think that was the hard part? I pulled her closer. Wait until the twins are teenagers. She groaned. Don't remind me. We stood in comfortable silence, watching the waves. Then Amar said, do you ever wonder what would have happened if you hadn't gotten sick? If we hadn't been forced back into each other's lives? All the time. Do you think we would have found our way back eventually? I thought about it. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. I turned her to face me. But I'm glad we did. Even if it took a medical emergency and a near-death experience. Very romantic. I work with what I've got. She laughed and kissed me. Soft and sweet and full of promise. When we finally went inside, Nari was standing in the hallway, clutching her stuffed rabbit. Can't sleep, baby. Amar picked her up. I had a thought, Nari said seriously. What thought? Are we a forever family now? Like in the books? My throat tightened. Amar kissed her forehead. Yes, baby. We're a forever family. Good. Nari yawned. I like forever. Me too, I whispered. We tucked her back into bed, then checked on Tay, who was sprawled across his mattress like a starfish. Back in our bedroom, Amar changed into pajamas and climbed into bed. Our bed. Not separate rooms anymore. Not barriers. Just us. Juno. She curled into me. Yeah. Thank you for not giving up. On me. On us. Thank you for giving me another chance. Well, I couldn't let you die. That would have been inconvenient. I laughed. Very practical. I'm a practical person. You're an incredible person. She smiled against my chest. So are you. Finally, 3 years later. Appa, Appa. I looked up from my laptop to see Tay running full speed across the studio, covered in paint. Tay, we talked about running with wet paint. Too late. He crashed into me, leaving colorful handprints all over my shirt. Sorry, but look. He held up a painting. I made our family. The painting showed 4 stick figures on a beach. One tall, one medium, 2 small. It's beautiful, buddy. That's you. He pointed to the tall figure. And that's Mama. And that's me and Nari. And that's the baby. My heart stopped. Baby. The one in Mama's tummy. She said I could tell you. I looked across the studio where Amar stood, hand on her stomach, grinning. Surprise, she mouthed. I crossed the room in 3 strides, pulling her close. You're pregnant? 12 weeks. I wanted to wait to tell you, but someone has a big mouth. She glared playfully at Tay. I'm excited. Tay defended himself. We're all excited, Nari added, appearing with her own painting. I want a sister. I want a brother. Tay argued. You'll get what you get, Amar said firmly. Then to me, are you happy? Happy? Amar, my voice broke. I'm everything. She kissed me, soft and sweet. Good. Because this one wasn't exactly planned. The best things never are. We stood there, surrounded by art and children and chaos. Our beautiful, messy, perfectly imperfect life. And I wouldn't change a single thing. That evening, after the kids were asleep and the studio was closed, Amar and I sat on the beach. Our spot, where everything had started to heal. 3 kids, I said, still processing. We're going to have 3 kids. Scared, terrified, thrilled. Both. Same. She leaned against me. But we've got this. We've survived everything else. Custody battles. Evil in-laws. Near-death experiences. Terrible proposals. Hey, the second one was romantic. She laughed. It was better. I'll give you that. We watched the sunset paint the sky in oranges and pinks. Juno. Amar said quietly. Yeah. Thank you for choosing us. For choosing love over everything else. Thank you for letting me. She kissed my cheek. Always. Forever. No matter what. Forever family. I whispered, echoing Nari's words from years ago. Forever family, she agreed. And as the sun set on another perfect day, I realized something. I'd spent years chasing success, building empires, seeking approval. But this messy, chaotic, beautiful family, this was the only empire that mattered. This was home. This was everything. This was love. And I was never letting it go again. If this story touched your heart, please hit that like button and subscribe for more emotional roller coasters. Drop a comment telling me your favorite moment. I read every single one. And if you know someone who needs to hear this story about second chances and fighting for love, share it with them. Thank you so much for reading Amar and Juno's story. Until next time, remember, it's never too late to fight for what matters.